It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey, Steph.
Hey, Gary.
How are you doing?
I am doing good. How are you?
I am freezing cold over here. I had to put on my vest because this office over, you're in a different office.
Yeah.
Side of the building than me. And in
Mine
fact, where you are is hot.
It's hot.
Because you're in the studio. But
yeah.
I'm in the office I'm normally in, and I'm freezing. I had to wear my vest to even stay in this office the last couple of days.
We switch offices when we're done with this, so you can come be in the blistering heat when you're done, and I'll come be cold in there.
I know. God, it's ridiculous. Anyway, how you doing?
I am good. I'm looking forward to, here in America, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with family this year. What about yourself?
Same. I'm going over to my parents. As you know, you and I kind of grew up near each other. I grew up on a 15-acre farm and grew okra, which is, by the way, the worst thing to grow because it's sticky and has like little spurs. So when you're like cutting it in the summertime, it like rips your skin up. Like you have these like. So you said the only way to cut it in the summertime. How did I get on this story? Anyway, the only way to cut it. You grew up on a
farm.
Yeah, is it's like July, and you have to wear long sleeves and long pants in July in Andrew, North Carolina, and you know what that was like, right?
Yes, it's hot.
Yep. But
are you going to be down in Andrew for Thanksgiving?
I am. I'm going to drive over to Andrew, and we're going to have a Thanksgiving lunch, and then I have some students, as you know, who don't that don't leave Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
And they don't have family here. So I've invited all of them tomorrow night to go to a movie, Thanksgiving movie with me. I'm going to go see House of Gucci. Have you heard about that?
I've heard about it because Adam Driver's in it. And, I got a big crush on Adam Driver. So I would like to go see that. You have to let me know how it is. I'm
excited about it. The trailer looks pretty awesome. I just sent Madeline a message. Hopefully she sees it.
Yeah, she will.
But in any case, the trailer is awesome. I'm excited about it. And, I don't know. I can imagine it'd suck to be a student in college and not have a place to go on Thanksgiving.
And not get to go anywhere for Thanksgiving.
What about you? What are you going to do?
I'm also going to be in Andrew.
Are you really?
Well, yeah.
We should go to Sunny Skies together or something like that.
Okay.
Are you really going to be in Andrew?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Andrew. I'm going to be at my dad's house, and then we're going to take everything we cook over to my Meemaw's house, which is also in Andrew.
So where is that exactly compared to where I am?
My dad's house?
Yeah. Where's your dad's house?
So, off of Ridge Road?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're literally do you know where Massengill Pond is, right?
Yes, it's off of Massengill.
Yes.
So Ridge Road, and then there's a little cul-de-sac off of that called Tim's Circle. That's where my dad's house is.
You have to share your location with me.
Okay.
Just for the next 24 hours, okay?
Okay.
Because, I used to drive a school bus when I was a junior in high school.
Yes,
now,
you did.
Why somebody would have me as a junior,
worries me that you were just
driving a freaking school bus. That's how North Carolina was at that time.
That's rough.
As a junior in high school, I drive a school bus, and I picked up the kindergarten kids at that stop on Ridge Road. So is that crazy that a 16-year-old was driving kindergartners in a school bus to school?
That makes me nervous.
Hey, I had a great week. I had a great weekend this past weekend. I don't know if you want to hear about it.
Yeah, I do, of course.
Okay,
Tell me.
Cool. So my daughter they had I don't want to say mock, but they had a big, normally she swims for Pepperdine University. Normally they have meets just one team against one team. And a couple times a year they have a big group meet. And there were about 10, 15, I'd say 12 teams at this meet. Schools like BYU, Boise State, UC Davis, UC San Diego, some big schools at this swim meet. And there were some swimmers there that went to the Olympics, which was kind of cool. So it was a very fast meet. And
it's very cool.
This was held in St. George. There you go. There's a picture of me and Olivia. This is after she swam the mile. This is literally 10 minutes after she finished swimming the mile. So you can see her cheeks are all red.
Yeah.
She's exhausted. And of course the mile's the last event. So everyone's gone. By the time the only people that are there watching the mile are the parents that have to watch their kids swim the mile. And by the way, watching your kids swim the mile is the least exciting thing you can possibly watch. Because it's just
18
distance. Minutes of back and forth. Right. Anyway. but it was held in St. George, Utah, which is where the Ironman National World Championships were this year. So that was kind of cool. I got a chance to run on that course a little bit while I was there, but it was cold, and I came home and it was colder here. It's like freezing cold.
I think we're getting like a cold front.
We woke up this morning 25 degrees, and we also woke up this morning to not surprising story, which we just posted on rAVepubs.com about IBC 2021 in Amsterdam is canceled, and I can already see the tweets from the trolls on the internet who are saying, well, when is ISE going to cancel in February since it's in Europe? The COVID cases are going up. And in fact, I actually included, if you scroll down in that article, there's some charts. There's the chart of the COVID cases going up in the Netherlands just in the last week and a half. And if you scroll down to Spain, you can see that it's much flatter and there's sort of like a slight increase. I think Spain has a better control over it. And the Netherlands kind of opened all up. But Europe is definitely on a spike. A lot of people say that we'll be on the same spike in a few weeks if we're not careful. But we're still all wearing masks everywhere for the most part. But and
a bunch of us are getting our boosters. I've got my booster scheduled for next week. Gary, you've had yours for a while.
Yeah, and I think the point I was making in the article too was stop panicking. Like IBC made this decision the week before the show. ISC is not going to make their decision if they're going to cancel or change anything until a week before the show, and they shouldn't, because this is literally a very fluid situation. And to pivot in December or late November would be the dumbest thing on earth. You have to, with this, we all know that if Infocom would have been in June, it would have been a bigger show than it was in October. It was in October, and we were sort of on a upswing again in cases, so it was smaller. And I think that we're going to see these cycles, so we're going to have to plan these shows kind of at the last minute, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, which obviously stinks because, a lot of different manufacturers kind of base product releases around the shows. So it's going to be difficult for them to try to plan things around the shows if we have to plan them at the last minute. But
in fact, we took that into consideration when re-engineering Launch, because Launch has been used for the last year and a half exclusively, almost 2 years, as a virtual event platform. But we are doing our first hybrid event next week using Launch Hybrid, and the difference is going to be basically Almo has their E4 event every year, 4 times a year around the country. They're going to have their live event in Dallas. We will simultaneously bring that to you in hybrid. And that is not the same thing as virtual, meaning we're not just going to set up a camera and shoot the stage and just bring you the recordings. This is going to be a true hybrid event. The hybrid audience, the online audience, and by the way, you can sign up at e4experience.com or e4evolution.com. Either one take you to signing up. So if you're going to be there live, you can go to our website at rAVepubs.com and click on either link. If you're going to be there live in Dallas next week on Tuesday, come see me. I'm going to do the keynote. I'm going to do something really cool, so stay tuned. I'm going to tell you about it. But I want to tell you about what we're going to do hybrid stuff. As you know, we're not just going to set up a camera and broadcast what's on the stage. That would be virtual. Hybrid is you're going to have 2 MCs, Tim Albright from AV Nation and Megan Dutta from Launch. The rAVe Agency's Launch platform are going to be your MCs. If you are on the online audience, you have 2 dedicated MCs that will be just for you, only talking to you. And they will allow, thanks to Madeline's help, they'll be switching back and forth between different camera angles, but also to the show floor. So they'll be looking at what's going on the show floor and taking live looks, live tours. I'll be doing live tours of the show floor. And so the hybrid audience will actually get a custom experience, not just a streamed experience. So we're going to be doing in 2022 a lot of hybrid shows. We're already talking Sony.
That's cool.
As an example, we signed a contract with them to do. There's more brands that we're going to be doing hybrid events. Anyone who's doing in-person events in 2022, we can take their in-person event and make it hybrid, meaning not just stream it to an audience, but actually curate that coverage, a lot like you did, Steph, with Megan with Infocom. So what's cool is Steph is available to be the MC to these events too, as well as me, as well as Megan, as well as Sarah and others inside of rAVe. And we're going to talk to you more about that. But I want you to sign up. I want everyone, if you're not going to go to the E4 in Dallas next week, I want you to sign up and see what our hybrid experience is. Because in addition to watching that coverage, that curated coverage brought to you by a partnership with rAVe, Almo, and AVNation, we're going to be able to see that coverage, but you're also going to be able to talk to everyone online and even communicate with the people that are there in person through launch and through our launch networking platform as well. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Steph.
And for people who want to know more about E4, you did a rants and raves with Melody Craigmile as well. So that's also on the Rave Pub site. So people can hop on over there and listen to that because she gives a lot of really good information about what.
Yeah, and if you're not a member of Launch, go ahead and join. Go to lavnch.com. Go ahead and join because you get access to all this. And by the way, all this gets you CTS credits now. So a lot of all the stuff we're doing on Launch, all of it gets you CTS credits now. So check it out. So anyway, what's next, Steph?
Yeah, so what's next is Michael Katz wrote his part 3 of how to get the job you want, how to sell your value, and once you get the job you want, how to keep the job you want. So he kind of realized that there are a lot of people in our industry who are switching jobs, looking for jobs right now. So he started writing this series, kind of just giving his advice. He's hopped around in our industry a lot, and he has a lot of really great advice about how to interview well, how to do your research about a company before you even interview there. And then once you get the job, he talks about how to become indispensable to the company so that you can really just solidify yourself there and be a really important part of a company's success. So it's a really good article. I highly recommend it if you are looking for a new job in our industry, even if you're not. He just has really good advice for how to just make yourself really valuable.
Yeah, he's a great writer. And by the way, he's running for the DSF board, and I hope that he gets that. We have a lot of friends. Not to endorse people. I don't think it's our place to endorse people for DSF, but we do like Michael, and I think he'd do a great job as a participant in the DSF board, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. And I think they have 5 spots open, so there are a lot of really great people running. So I hope everyone votes who has a horse in the race, and I do hope to see. I think Michael would do a good job.
I think so too. And speaking of doing a good job, Shure's microphones are doing a great job for both of us.
They are. They're doing a lovely job.
Aren't they doing a great job? Let's see how they are helping people at home with their audio solutions.
Sounds good.
We've seen nothing less than volatility in the stock market over the past 12 months. We should certainly be bracing ourselves for more of the same. Based on what we've learned from history, it would be a good idea for our investors to look to hold tight.
I have 2 apples in my basket, and I say to Mr. Jumble, can I have one of yours? How many apples do you think I...
Excuse me? Can I have your attention, please?
So, how many apples do you think I'll have if I take one from...
Hi, Grandma. Hi, Granddad.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Don't forget to plug in your mic.
Is that better?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loads better.
Who are you waving at?
Oh, it's just our neighbour.
Sorry I'm late. As I was saying, the compelling opportunities in the stock market have the potential for a solid year of returns, which would be consistent with the second year of a bull market.
Okay. It's interesting how I would have never thought I was in an industry that ultimately advertised products in the home, but things have changed a lot in the last couple of years.
Yes. I talk a lot about like how there's this entire like resi Marshall market that's kind of emerging. And how like different companies are having to they're really having to think and create products that work for either. And that has never been a thing in our industry before. Yeah. Like, I know I haven't been here as long as you have, Gary, but even in the 5-6 years that I've been in our industry, that hasn't been a thing until the past year because of COVID. So COVID, it's obviously it's horrible. It's done a lot of rough things to our industry, but it's actually also created new markets and new opportunities for different manufacturers and integrators. So
yeah, the ones that are getting creative are doing fine.
Exactly. So speaking of just being grateful for the good that's out there, Megan Dutta wrote an article on, I'm not to toot my own horn, but I did help her come up with this title on the things that she's thankful for this year. And she just interviewed different people in our industry, just some different, she interviewed Mark from Epson and just a lot of different people in our industry from all different walks of life, just about the things that they're thankful for this year and the things that she's happy about, the things that they're happy about. even through all of the bad, the things that really are going well in our industry. And a lot of it is that we're thankful for each other because, you know, we talk a lot about the technology, but at the end of the day, we are the things that make up the industry. So that's what I have to say about that.
So what are you thankful for? Tell me what is the one thing you could say you're thankful for, you know, professionally?
Professionally, I think I'm grateful for the network that I've made, like from working here. Like I've made so many great connections. I've met mentors, people who just generally want to help me succeed. And that's been just very welcoming and very heartwarming that I've found about our industry is that generally everyone I've met has been nice, and generally everyone I've met wants to see me succeed and wants to help me do whatever I'm trying to do. So with my CTS journey, generally everyone I've reached out to and asked for help or asked to help me figure something out, everyone's helped me, and everyone's been just like so great. And so, yeah, that's what I'm thankful for. What about you?
I'm thankful for our team. I think we have a really solid team here, and we have people that are doing amazing work, and they really seem, you know, they really seem to like their job and what they're doing. Yeah. And, you know, there's always going to be like little pockets of, hey, I'd like to be doing something different, or I'd like to go a different direction. But in general, you know, I think we have a phenomenal team, and I'm really thankful that we found a group of people that's really meshed really well together, especially during such a horrible time, in the sense that, you know, we lost our accountant to COVID-19, and then we had all sorts of instability in the market, and we shifted exclusively online and all that stuff. And I think it worked out pretty well, you know. And even it's funny, even the people that have gone on to do other things, like Corinna, for example, she still works on my presentations and does all my presentations for my live events. And Leah still proofs all my stuff that I write for other brands and stuff. I mean, so there's, you know, I'm thankful that we still have that network out there of supporters, and some of our, you know, as you know, even people from your own class stuff have gone on to do some pretty amazing things. You know, in and around you want to hear something funny?
Yes.
So I'm working on a project for a very large brand, big display company, a marketing project. Okay. And the PR group, or the person inside that company, said, I need to connect you with the PR person for this information that you need. And all of a sudden I was like, that name looks familiar. And then I was like, that's funny, she has the same name as one of my former students. And then the student goes, that's my former professor. And so she's working for this PR agency, Edelman, on that brand. And that's so funny. And her customer is that group, which is kind of cool. And I think she's about your time, about, you know, 6 or 7 years ago as a student. Yeah. So that it's amazing how our industry has become pretty small.
It has. I mean, it's definitely a small world, and you are also just particularly a well-connected person. So I think that like any industry you walk in, you're going to meet somebody that you know.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you're right. I mean, we have, you know, we have expanded quite a bit as an industry and as a group. Speaking of expanding, NSCA is going to have their 24th annual business leadership conference. Will be in person. They're not going to do a virtual or hybrid thing. They're going to try to go completely in person. And you can register for that at our website. But I wrote a little piece about, you know, what they're doing and sort of why they're going back in person.
Which that's exciting. They've done the last one or two virtually.
Yeah, I think last year it was the only one they did online. We did the P2P for them a couple times in online, but they're going to go back online, try to do that in person. When is that, Steph? When is the date of that? I should say.
It's February 23rd through 25th in Irving, Texas.
Yeah, and of course Texas has been open since the beginning of the pandemic. So I don't think they'll, you know, and they as long as you're willing to get tested before you get, you know. Here's some interesting thing I found out. My daughter at Pepperdine University is one of the only schools in the country, I didn't know this, that is testing requiring testing of every single student once a week. So they are requiring every student, even if you've been vaccinated, to be tested once a week. And if you're not, they shut down Sakai. So you know how that can mess you up. So you can't get to class, can't do any of this stuff. So everyone's been tested. So they're doing between 6,000 and 8,000 tests per week because some weeks the faculty also have to get tests and some weeks it's just students. So, and then of course it depends on if a grad student's going to come to campus or not. If they're not going to come to campus, they don't get tested. So they've done between 6,000 and 8,000 every week since the middle of August.
That's wild.
77%. So they're only having between 15 and 20 positive tests per week out of 6,500 students, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
77% of the positive results have been from vaccinated people, which I thought was kind of interesting that there was a smaller percentage of unvaccinated positive results. I think it's some people that are unvaccinated are probably more obsessed with keeping their masks on all the time because of it. But I think it's interesting because even as we get out of like they have by the way, they have an 89% vaccination rate according to the document they sent out. But even as we're vaccinated, we still are at risk, but no one's getting horribly sick. So I do see us opening back up. But that said, a lot of decisions are being made based on positive numbers, not death numbers or not severity numbers. So a lot of times, like IBC, when they cited shutting down the show and not having the show next week, they cited increasing cases. They didn't cite increasing deaths because in fact deaths were going down. Right. They're citing increasing. That leads me to believe that we're going to be in COVID land for another couple of years because we're going to be in these cycles. Yeah. So I think we're not going to be out of this. And I think we're going to have to decide as a group, do we go to this event or not? And I think it'll be based on factors like, do I feel comfortable going where I'm going? Is it in good shape right now? And who I'm around, do I feel comfortable being around it? I think that's just going to be the normal in our life for another couple of years, as much as I hate to admit it.
I just think COVID's going to be around for probably a long time. I think it's just going to be like the flu eventually.
What Pfizer told me is, I'm in the trial. Pfizer told me that they're developing a vaccine that's COVID-19 and flu together, and it's both mRNA. So the next flu vaccine that Pfizer will put out next year will be an mRNA vaccine, and I'm signed up to be in that trial.
Of course you are. You love a drug trial.
I do love a drug trial. My dad I think I told you the story. My dad was a doctor, and he wanted me to become a doctor, and I'm not a doctor. So therefore, that's my way to make up for not becoming a doctor.
Doing every trial that you can.
That's right. I actually did. I think you know this. I did the trial for Accutane.
Yeah, you did. You told me you had to drive to
Maryland every other week.
Yeah.
So Accutane is like a wonder drug for acne, but my whole face was covered. My chest and my arms were covered with acne, like literally covered. I'll find some pictures and show you. You'd be shocked. And that drug saved my self-esteem. Cause if you think about being 16 years old, covered with acne, that's
rough.
Terrible. Yeah. And so, I was in that drug trial. That was a weird trial too, because that drug dries you out. Like my mouth was cracking constantly. And I took a very high dosage of that and led to some other problems that I have now, but we'll talk about that later. Let's lead into one thing I'm going to do next week is Legrand has promised me a care package that they want me to open up live on rAVe TV next week. I don't know what's in it. I don't have any idea what they're sending me, but they say I'm going to love it. And they want me to show it live next week. But in the meantime, do you know all the brands of Legrand? Let's see. We'll see how many of them you know off the top of your head. Let's roll.
Me? Oh.
I want to see how many you can name off the top of your head, Steph.
Oh, okay. I was trying to do this. Okay. Chief, On Q, C2G, Luxol. I don't know anything.
Daylight?
What else? Is there a one that starts with the S? Is it Sanus or something?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the other ones off the top of my head.
Vadio?
Oh, yeah, Vadio.
Okay. How about Middle Atlantic? Did you do Middle Atlantic?
No. I said On Q, right?
Yeah. There you go. All right. We did pretty good.
We did do pretty well.
I don't know if we got them all or not, though.
No.
Not sure.
But
all right. So
that's not so bad.
On to the news. What's our next story, Steph?
Next story is from Mark Coxon. He has written about the importance of having a connection center. So he is writing about, we're entering this whole like hybrid workforce thing where like at first we were like, oh, hybrid's probably not going to last forever. And now we're like, oh, there's a chance that working hybrid will last forever. And he's saying like, most places don't need to actually have real estate, but if you want to keep real estate at your company, you need to make it a connection center. So a connection center is about connection to work, connection to each other, and connection to your customers. And he talks all about like how to lay that out so it's not just like an office space, but it's a space to really work on being connected with yourself and others. So,
I think it's interesting because, I think I wish our space had all the things in it that he says. And like, for example, we were supposed to have a coffee shop in the space, which we don't anymore.
We don't.
But like, I think having almost like re-engineering all your workspaces to be co-working spaces are good ideas. I think that's something that I think will help keep people in the office and keep people happy. But hey, speaking of Legrand,
one of their brands.
C2G cables, what used to be known as Cables to Go, has come out with a special new, I think it's called Performance Series, HDMI cable that can actually handle, I think, 8K.
I think it might. Oh yeah, it's only up to 4K.
I think it can handle some of the 8K resolution and bandwidth, but it's made specifically for high performance 4K applications because I think it's 18 gig cable. So I think it's and it comes in it's specific lengths. It's cut lengths, maybe 4 or 5 different lengths. We're going to talk more about that next week as we talk about Legrand because this is this is going to be not just in the home but in the business world. We're going to have to replace a lot of HDMI cable as more 4K stuff goes in because we put in HDMI originally for 1080. Right.
And apparently they have a really good like bend radius and stuff. So apparently they're also really good for deployment when it comes to that if it needs to go in a tight space or something. Yeah. So, yeah. Finally, just want to finish on a case study of the week. So this is from Blockhouse Studios. They chose Epson laser projectors for this culture show they have in Indiana, which is very cool. You can see like kind of all these cool shadows and things that they're like putting on a building.
Yeah, it's image mapping. Do you have the video on this? Did I improve?
Yes,
I did.
The video is in here.
Can you play that real quick? I know we won't hear the audio from it, but I was blown away by this little show they put on.
Yeah, you can kind of see.
Yeah, the image mapping. Of course, I love image mapping, but I think this is a really neat way for towns and cities and communities to come together in an outdoor, so it's safe environment, but also to sort of tell the history of the culture and stuff. And, most buildings are white, so you can project on them, right?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, I love this kind of stuff.
I do too. It reminds me of like Disney World, like doing the image mapping on the castle.
Yeah, and on water. You remember Fantasmic where they image map water? I mean, Speaking of Disney, I hope I get to go back soon. I think I'm going to go back before Christmas because
I'm not either.
I don't know. I would like to because the lines are shorter.
I know. I still would like to just go without everyone from the company. Like somehow, like just everyone take a road trip to Disney.
Everyone to the industry. Next time we're at Infocom, the whole industry goes to Animal King the day after. That's what we should do. That should be our thing for Infocom 2023. We're all going to Animal Kingdom after the show.
Yeah, that would be fun. That'd be really fun.
Anyway, we want to wish you all, even if you're not in the U.S., a happy Thanksgiving, a happy holidays. We're moving into the holiday month.
Yeah,
lots of different holidays, lots of different traditions. And we all want to wish everyone tomorrow a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Steph, I'm going Friday night to the North Carolina State football game.
Oh, that's exciting. That's so fun.
I'm going to the enemy territory to watch it at Carter Finley Stadium. So I need to bring a hard hat and some boots to let me in.
Okay. Very nice. Any State fans, we're sorry if we offended you.
All right.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of rAVe TV. As always, you can catch me and Gary on pretty much virtually any social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, rAVe Hub's website, YouTube, pretty much anywhere else. Wednesday at noon Eastern, and we will see you next week. Bye.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.